More chairs.
Ms. Goggins,
Yes.
I've been advised by the Borough Solicitor and the President of Council that you need to move this camera to the back and set it up on the tripod, and after that, you're more than welcome to sit anywhere that you like. But you cannot have the camera here, nor can you have the tripod here. So if you wish to remain and videotape it, you're more than welcome to do so, but you can't do it from here.
And what ruling do you have that substantiates what you're saying right now?
The Borough Solicitor has advised me that she has reviewed the Sunshine Act, and they also contacted PSAB, and that was the ruling that they gave them.
And what's PSAB?
Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs.
Well, I disagree with the ruling and the
Okay.
interpretation of the ruling.
Can you see it?
So-
Can we see a
Sir,
copy of the policy
I'm
that's in
speaking with her
effect
right now. I'm speaking with her right now. I'll be with you in a moment, please.
I disagree with the interpretation of the ruling. I
Okay.
don't see anything in writing attesting to that, which what you just said.
Okay.
And I feel if they want to interpret it that way, they have to make a ruling.
Well,
And until there's a ruling,
like,
I
ma'am,
feel I can be here.
Ma'am, I've been advised to either have you move this camera to the rear, or else the borough meeting will not be started.
Well, if the borough meeting cannot be started because they have an interpretation of the law that's not in agreement with the rest of other people or myself or whoever is here, then that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
I'm sorry they can't continue the meeting
No.
because there's a camera in the middle of the room,
Well,
in the
it's a-
front seat.
I've been advised by them to tell you that it's a health and safety issue, and if you do not wish to move this camera, then I'll be moving it myself.
You consider this a health and what issue?
Health and
Safety issue?
Health
That's
and
what they told-
safety?
That's what they told me, ma'am.
Can you
Sir.
say that with a straight face?
Yes, I can.
You can? Whoa.
Well, he's pretty
More than I
good.
can
John's
do.
pretty good. You can do it.
So, you're, please, I don't want to have any problems, so if we could just
I
move it.
know, I agree, John. I don't want to have any problems either, but I really find it important that we stand up for what we consider our rights and the rights of a democracy, and not to have it our rights to be walked over. I mean, I feel I have a right to be here. I understand the
You do have a right to
Sunshine
be
Law.
here. You do have a right to be here, and I'm not disagreeing with it. You have the right to be here. But I'm advising you that Borough Council has told me that this camera needs to be in the back on a tripod, and that it can't remain where it is right now.
Well, the Borough Council is not the law.
I know,
Borough
ma'am.
Council just gives advice. They're not the law.
Okay.
They're not a judge. They're not a jury.
That's correct.
Is that correct, right?
But they do have the right to set policy and precedent and make rules as to how meetings are conducted.
Well, they
and how
can make
are
rules and
contained.
policy, but it has to be in writing. Could you tell that to the solicitor who's there? Hello, Ms. O'Malley. If you have rules and regulations, they need to be in writing, they need to be decided, they just can't be stated by you. I mean, I can't,
Frankly, ma'am, what we can do is tell you that for the purposes of this meeting, all cameras belong in the back where all the other cameras are. And the reason for that is for safety purposes. And that you can find in the Pennsylvania Code, and I would be happy to give you a citation to it.
I'd like to see the citation.
Well, you can look it up, I'm sure. I'll give you the number.
Well, can you read it? Can you read it to the public here so that everybody can hear it?
That's not necessary, no, I'm not going to do it.
It is necessary.
No, it isn't.
Is it about a paragraph long or a couple of sentences? I'm sure you could read it.
Okay.
And give us the citation so we can look it up, because we have attorneys here also
It's
in the
Borough
room.
Code 1202.74.
And they state that video cameras can be a health hazard?
No, ma'am. What it states is that for purposes of management of our meetings, we have the right to make certain rules as it relates to public safety. And in this particular case, your camera placement potentially causes a safety issue for the other people in the room. That is why we're asking you to move it to the back.
Can you repeat the exact section?
Yes, can you
And
repeat that
number.
again, the section again, so we can hear it?
It's section 1202.74 of the Borough Code. It's a statewide code, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And with regard to your allegation of a violation of the Sunshine Act, If you believe one is occurring, you have redress within the court system. And that will have to occur after tonight's meeting.
Here, move your hand, please.
Can I see a copy of the rule and regulation for that that's in effect
Yes, can we
now?
see a copy of it? I don't want to just hear it, I'd like to see a copy of it.
Fair. It's been explained to you by the Borough Solicitor. Now
I
we're
know, but it's
meeting
not
with the borough.
sufficiently explained to me, John. It might be sufficient for you, might be sufficient for him and for Miss O'Malley, but it's not sufficient for me.
Okay, Vera, I'm going to have to take your camera and confiscate it, and if you continue, I'm going to have to charge you with disorderly conduct, so please, can we move the camera?
So I'm being threatened with
ma'am.
disorderly conduct?
I'm just advising you of what
I'm being
told
advised that I
today.
am possibly committing disorderly conduct, and I'm also being told that my camera will be confiscated.
Where
And
they're failing to produce the rule.
and they failed to
Or
produce the
regulation.
ruling so that we can read it and read it to the public.
Quite frankly, the confiscation of the camera is not an issue here. The camera can be moved to the back of the room. We have no desire to take your property from you. But the fact of the matter is that we are entitled to conduct this meeting in accordance with the rules of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I've explained to you what the decision is and what the basis for our asking you to move that camera to the back of the room. No one else here seems to have a problem following that particular rule. And under the circumstances, I think you're being unreasonable at this point, and hence the officer's request that you follow the rules that everyone else is following this evening and move the camera to the back of the room. Otherwise, the officer...
Well, I'm sorry you
will
consider me
report
unreasonable. I consider your request unreasonable also.
And your reasoning is flawed because there has to be an ordinance, bylaw, rule, or regulation in effect.
it. Folks, for purposes of what we're doing here, we have a meeting to conduct. You can either take the camera and move it to the back and record, just like everyone else in the room is doing, or it will be moved back there for you.
Or you're working for having, endangering the borough to a lawsuit. You know the officers are covered. I know they have immunity on this because they're being ordered to do stuff, but by using that general power, 74, you're endangering the authority or the municipality to a lawsuit for not having a regulation in effect at this time.
Well, I'm not sure what your legal authority for that statement is. Certainly, council can overrule what I have requested. I'm under the impression that they will not, though. And if you feel the need to bring a lawsuit, then that's what you do.
In which, haven't you represented Grapevine Township before? The supervisor?
It's not the purpose, yes, it's not the purpose.
We need to move the camera. Vera, get in the back with the camera, or we'll move you to the back with the camera, one or the other. Do whatever it is that you want to do. Either give them the camera and they're going to put it in the back, or go sit in the parking lot. That's the option. What are you going to do? Come on, we've got a meeting to conduct.
Vera.
Well, then, I'm not moving it, then you move it.
Sure.
Call this meeting to order, special meeting of the Montrose Borough Council. You gotta see the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. One dispense with prayer.